The Ursas in Afterearth might be the single worst sci-fi monster I have ever seen in any media ever. You're telling me a monster specifically designed to hunt and kill people by an advanced alien race is blind and deaf and can only see people if they're releasing fear pheromones. The only thing dumber than these monsters are the people in the movie Afterearth. Oh, we're being invaded by a bunch of monsters that can smell fear. What should we do? I know. Let's train like 6 people to not feel fear at all so then they can go fight the monsters in melee combat. That doesn't make sense. I think the decision to have the main characters in the movie not feel emotions was more to cover up the fact that Jadensmith can't act than to have any actual real world building. So, if you are being chased by a giant monster that can only see you if you're afraid of it, how do you fight it? How do you fight these monsters? Well, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or just, there's so many ways to fight these things. Let's start with the first one. Don't let them smell you. And I'm not talking about being a ghoster who can't feel fear. I think your average Joe who is afraid of them still doesn't need to be smelled. We are shown in the movie that if you put a kid in a glass dome, the monster cannot find them because the dome blocks all of their pheromones. So, it stands to reason that as long as a person is in a contained something, you cannot smell them. So put a person in like an environment suit, or a space suit, or any kind of pressure suit. Give your soldiers any kind of like futuristic sci-fi armor that isn't just a weird onesie, and boom, the things can't smell you because they're in a self-contained environment. Neil Armstrong could fist fight one of these things to death, because inside a spacesuit, they can't smell him. And if we can create a pressure suit with 60s technology that probably couldn't be smelled by an Ursa, I'm willing to bet that by the time of Afterearth, which is at least 1,000 years in the future, probably way more, they can make something better. You don't need to just have these weird guys in suits that provide no armor with swords. At minimum, make a guy in armor with a sword. Armor that blocks all of the smells. Do what every sci-fi setting ever does and give your guys some form of power armor, and you're good to go. Or, don't even bother with armor. Just spray a bunch of Axe body spray. If they're all smell-based, how about you just overwhelm them? They are incapable of differentiating a person from random background noise unless they smell the pheromones, which means I think with a strong enough scent, you can just cover up the pheromones again anyways, and then boom, you can send in a guy who smells like Axe or something and chop them up. I think the awful body spray method is worth trying, especially if for some reason you're incapable of making any form of pressure suit. Wouldn't you know it, blind creatures that go berserk when they smell a person are very easy to outmaneuver. Here's the pitch. Get some human fear pheromone. You know it exists, you know the creatures smell it, so just get some. Find a way to synthesize it. And then, you can use it to set traps. You know, just put some pheromone on an object. They cannot differentiate between the background and a human unless the pheromone's on it, which means you could just put the pheromone on like a sharpened spike, or over a pit trap, or just anywhere, and then draw the creatures in. You could protect an entire city from Ursas with completely static defenses, because as long as you have, say, a drone covered in human fear pheromone, they're just going to chase that forever. They're not even going to know to go to the city. They're not smart, they're not programmed, and they're not controlled by the aliens. They're just sent in to go cause havoc. They're animals. And the behavior of animals can be exploited. Set a trap, use the fear pheromone, and profit. Another thing is, you don't even need to fight them directly. Use a gun, use a bomb, artillery. They can be damaged by explosives. We see that in the movie. So why are we fighting them a one-on-one in close range, especially if most people are afraid of them? Use an airstrike. Maybe use armor. A tank. Can they smell through a tank? Can they differentiate a tank from the background? Do they know to attack a tank? Use tanks, use planes, use a minefield, use artillery. You don't have to send in a bunch of random human soldiers to fight them. You're in the future. Act like it. At least put your guys in suits. At this point, I'm just talking in circles. But here's an interesting thing about the lore of Afterearth. Earth-like worlds are extremely rare. That's why they had to set up on Nova Prime, even though it's not ideal, because you know, it's a big old desert. Because Earth became uninhabitable, and they had to find the next best thing. The aliens keep attacking humanity because Nova Prime is a holy land to them. And the Ursas apparently were the best solution the aliens could find to attacking the Holy Land while still following their religion. The Ursas are very annoying to deal with, and honestly, constant alien attacks probably isn't great. But Nova Prime is the only place they can live. except for another perfectly normal planet called Earth. It's still unclear why humanity left Earth in the first place, and we see in the movie that Earth is still quite livable. There's a weird day-night cycle now, and the levels of oxygen is different, but you're in the future. They have insane technology. They have FTL drives. You could set up a base on Earth. You could just go back to Earth. Will Smith says everything on Earth has evolved to kill humans. 1, that's not how evolution works. 2, it's been 1,000 years, and without any people, they probably have evolved the other way. And 3, you're in the future. You might be dumb, in a dumb future where people can't figure out how to fight giant animals that can't see them, but still, you can get around all this. Earth, even as it is during After-Earth, is still more hospitable than Nova Prime. You could at least be a 2-planet civilization. The aliens are hamstrung in the war because they have to follow their religion, and the humans are hamstrung because they're idiots. Not once have they thought, hey, what if we built a fleet of ships and went and took the fight to the aliens? Or what if we built orbital defenses? Or what if we just built any defenses around our place? Instead, they keep a small token military and seemingly spend most of their resources on exploration ships. Because those are the only ships we ever see, the weird exploration ship that takes them to Earth. Maybe they have warships, maybe they would have shown them in the big cinematic universe Sony was planning, but none of that matters now. We're left with an incomplete world where nothing makes sense. So, how do you deal with the aliens in the Ursa? Simple. Outfit your soldier with actual military gear designed for the situation. Don't send them out with swords and auto-camouflaging future clothes. Neither of those are that useful against the Ursa. Instead, put them in pressure suits. Put them in some type of armor that separates their body from the outer environment. Thus, until they're damaged, they are effectively invisible to an Ursa. You can keep the melee weapons if you want. They're pretty cool, they can change how they look. Or, do the easy thing and make a ranged weapon that can hurt the Ursa, and then shoot them from a distance. Then the smelling thing matters even less. Ursa can be harmed by explosives. Create a human pheromone decoy, and then when the Ursa all get around it, airstrike it or use artillery. There are so many ways you can fight these things without directly getting involved. And then on top of that, when the aliens show up, have a good air force. You know they are coming, and you know the only ground forces they're going to drop are the Ursa. Which means the only big planning you need to do is to destroy the ships. The Ursa can be dealt with easily if you actually pay attention. Build up like Earth in Halo. A bunch of orbital cannons, just blow them out of the sky. Create warships. And then, when you've defeated them on the ground and they inevitably retreat, follow them back. You resigned yourselves to a forever defensive war, when you could go to the alien home planet and bring the fight to them. The aliens and humanity are clearly on a very similar technological footing, and the only reason the war is in such a weird place as it is because both have their hands tied behind their backs. The aliens can't directly attack the planet because it's holy to them, and the humans have no brains. Really, it's an even fight. When the best you can do to fight blind, deaf alien monsters is to train soldiers who feel so little emotion they're not even nice to their own family, I think at that point you deserve to lose.